Welcome to the fan base. Welcome to the fan base. Buffalo, this the fan base.
Fourth and goal, we going forward, that's the only option. Yeah, we came to circle wagons, tell me who gon' stop us. This a no-fly zone, defense get it rocking. Gritty in the end zone, cause the camera's watching. Double coverage on Stephon, boy, who checking Davis. Don't let Josh tuck and run, he ain't nothing to play with. Shutting down the edge of Vaughn, ain't no one-on-one. Check gon' take it to the crib like he forgot his son. Other fans still think it's sweet like we don't run the East. Dion knock him off his feet and put that boy to sleep. Welcome to Buffalo, this the fan base. Where Super Bowl ring the only mandate. 25-year drought, time to set a straight team full of dogs when it all, never play it safe.
Welcome to the fan base. Welcome to the fan base. Buffalo, this the fan base.
It's not a Madden game, but welcome back, everybody, to the best show in Bills Mafia on Friday nights. And just in case you don't know why, well, we are your Friday night guys underneath the Friday night lights. I'm Jake Jordan. He's Justus General. And we're built different, aren't we, Justus?
We are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of Built Different with Justus General Rafford and my man Jake, the Bills fan, Jake Jordan. Look, guys, we doing a little bit of rebranding, revamping a little bit. You know, you might see a lot of that on the fan base recently, but we're going to have the best season in history this year. And it starts off with an amazing Victory Friday today. Of course, yesterday, the Buffalo Bills stomped the Rams 31-10. First half, it was a game. Second half, it was not. So thank you guys for tuning in with us. Make sure you guys slap that like button, subscribe to the Buffalo FAMbase channel. We are the official network of the original Bills Mafia. But before we're gonna go ahead and get into this Rams game. But how you doing tonight, Jake? What's going on with you, bro?
Man, you know, all day last night, it was about 2 a.m. and I'm sitting there going, I wish first round bye was right now. I wish that we could have talked about that game right then and there. And I know you've gotten to talk about the game already this morning on Believe in Bills with you, Ruben Brown, and Coach Mookie Hawkins. So if you guys haven't gone and checked that out, that went up this morning. That was an awesome show to listen to. And yeah, man, oh man, Victory Friday. Like, we went in, if everybody listened to first round bye last week, we were pretty confident going into this game. But we were still modest. We said, hey, it's going to be a 2-score game. We're going to win by 2 scores. A little did we know we were going to win by 3. So, yeah, that was a dub in the column. And, like, first of all, what a statement by the Bills. Just, like, if there was, like, a game, we said, okay, well, if you were going to drop one, you know, this one, it's in the NFC. And, you know, at least it's not an AFC game. So if there was a little bit of rust, no, I mean, I don't know if you saw any, but rust where?
Well,
like
it was a little bit of rust, and we're gonna go into it. First half struggles, a little bit of rust. They knocked it off fairly quickly as the second half got started. But of course, and honestly, I don't even know if you could call it rust. It was really just like isolated incidents. It wasn't like they were playing sloppy. They weren't getting punched in the mouth or anything. It was we'll talk about it. The first turnover, of course, was the drop by Isaiah McKenzie that fell into the arms of, I believe it was Ernest Jones. He had a hell of a day last night. That was I could be wrong. I believe it fell into the hands of Ernest Jones, and that was the first interception of the season for Josh Allen. The first interception of the season, period. Obviously, with them being the first game, but it didn't come until after the catch from Gabriel Davis. And before we get into the first half struggles, let's just go ahead and have a little recap of that Gabe Davis touchdown. Of course, our boy Our UCF alum, Gabe Davis, got busy last night. Yeah,
drink it in, man. Drink it in. This juice is going to be flowing all season. If you got Gabe Davis in fantasy, you're about to have yourself a hell of a time this year. I'm telling you that right now. You know, everybody talked about it in the offseason. This is going to be like Stephon Diggs still. We were all like, oh, well, Stephon Diggs is probably, they're going to put a lot of coverage on him. Gabe Davis is going to get it because of that. Stephon Diggs is still him, and Gabe Davis is becoming him if he's not him already. So drink it in, man, because we've got two bona fide wide receivers on each side that we have one of the best quarterbacks throwing it to. So, my God, when that was the first touchdown, it was like they never stopped, Justus. It was like we went straight from that Kansas City game right to this game against the Rams, man. That's exactly what it felt like. And I couldn't feel any better every single time. I told you it felt, I get a certain euphoria every single time that Gabe Davis catches the ball or scores a touchdown. So,
yeah, and I mean, same. Obviously, you have them for different reasons, but you know, ultimately, we're both Bills fans, and you know, the excitement is still there. You know, but I want to talk to you a little bit just about the struggles, kind of, sort of. Of course, you know, they had some pretty terrible turnovers. What was the aspect of the game that maybe in the first half you weren't satisfied with outside of the turnovers?
Outside of the turnovers, man, there's not a lot. So the good thing about this game is that the Bills really didn't look like they were struggling much. If, you know, it's not like the offense, when those turnovers happened, it's not like they weren't moving the ball, because they still were. And like outside of the scripted plays, like that first drive by the Bills was masterful. Of course, they always say that the first drive is scripted, and you know, it usually goes that way. And that usually will set the tone for the game if you have a good play caller, which we learned last night. Well, we do. And like that, there was nothing that the defensive line, or not even just the defensive line, but just the team as a whole did wrong. Like everything was good, but we were kind of, it's the turnovers are the main number one thing that you look at when you look at that first half of why did it get so close in that second quarter when we let them score 10 points, the only 10 points that got the whole game, by the way. And like outside of those turnovers, I mean, it could have been 31-10 going into halftime. Like it was just, it was almost like there can be no wrong. I mean, there was a little bit in the secondary, of course, when you have two rookie corners, which we can talk about. There's a couple of plays that, you know, it shows that they're rookies and what happens. Cooper Kupp 8. That's kind of what happened. He statistically still had a good game, and like he's pretty much
special.
Yeah, he's pretty much the only one. And I mean, when you have all these different corners on him, you're just kind of thinking, all right, well, they're not going to be able to lock him down. He's Cooper Kupp. So that was kind of a thing in the first half too, where, you know, they had Benford in, and I know you're a big Benford guy. The Benford start is something that I don't think either of us called. We kind of assumed it was going to be Kyer. We talked about them saying they were going to, you know, kind of interchange Elam and Benford, but I thought Elam would at least get the start. So that was definitely something that surprised me. But overall, I think the turnovers are the real main talking point of this first half of, you know, you can't say they're uncharacteristic because the Bills have had problems with turnovers in the past. But
hold on, we're going to get to the turnovers in 1 second. We do have that as a topic. So I just real quick, I want to go through the first half struggles that I saw that were independent of the turnovers.
Sure.
One was, I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face, y'all. Stop giving the ball to running backs that aren't Devin Singletary. The fumbles have nothing to do with this, all right? Zach Moss actually played a decent game. I'm not mad at him per se. I just feel like Devin Singletary would have a lot more production with the same opportunities, right? You see Devin Singletary ended last night, 46 yards, 6 yards per carry, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Give Devin Singletary the ball. Stop splitting his carries. Stop taking him out for series at a time. I don't understand what the infatuation with having multiple running backs carry the football for you is with this offense. And I mean, it's a small thing. I'm not going to sit here and blow a gasket over it, but just like go with the numbers. Like this guy, people want to say Devin Singletary is not an RB1 or not good or not worth the money, whatever. He continues to produce with less than satisfactory opportunity.
Yeah.
He had 8 carries last night, y'all. And he produced on just about all of them. I think there was maybe one play where he might have missed a hole. Like, I don't understand. So that really ticked me off. And the other thing was the one thing that has plagued the Buffalo Bills this season, I'm sorry, not this season, in previous years, last year and the year before that specifically, right? The Buffalo Bills are the only team in the NFL that can beat the Buffalo Bills, right? You take a look at the game last night. Excuse me. You're up 10-0. It looks like it's about to be a runaway. You are in LA. You are not home, right? And then Isaiah McKenzie drops the football, right? They go down the field. They score their touchdown, right? And then before half, you're not able to really make anything happen. Oh, no, I think there was another turnover because I don't remember. We didn't punt. So how did they get the ball right back before half?
James Cook, my friend.
It was the fumble. James Cook's fumbles, and then they go and they get a field goal. 57-yard. That was a hell of a kick. I think the Sunday Night Football said he would have made that from 68.
Oh yeah, dude, that was an absolute bomb.
So shout out to him for that. But outside of that, that's what kind of scares me a little bit, right? It's these lapses, and they're not just lapses because a lapse is like a play or two. Oh man, I missed my assignment. Maybe they got a big play. The Buffalo Bills will be like, our offense just falls off the wagon, and then our defense will follow suit sometimes. And it kind of reminds me of the Chiefs game last year, the first matchup, where we are playing this team, this highly coveted team, and everybody's like, "Oh, the Buffalo Bills for real? This is how we'll tell it." That type of thing, right? Yeah. And we're beating the team. We're beating them pretty handily. The refs for that game specifically, I think the refs were pretty good last night. In the Rams game, or the Chiefs game, the ref was like selling. They was trying to give the Chiefs anything and everything possible. And there were a couple of lapses where the Bills were trying to let the Chiefs get back into the game. Now, of course, shout out to Boogie Basham and Michael Hyde, I believe that was his interception. Shout out to them. They were able to put the game away. But the team overall, perfect example. Do you guys remember last year when we were playing in the rain against the Colts? And we go down.
I try to forget about that game.
I do too often. This is why I don't even know if I'm going to say the sequence correctly. But I do remember we were down by a score. We were like, all right, this is the Colts. They're going to want to run. So you need to get your bearings together, come back and score. They don't. Punt it away. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a terrible punt. They come back and they score again, like almost immediately. And then Isaiah McKenzie just drops the ball and falls on his face out of nowhere. And then they come in. It's like everybody is like collectively, man, we're going to, just so that's the other thing that really bothers me. It gives me a little bit of the cause for pause. Of course, they clean it up in the second half. But if we want to be as good as we are capable of being, you got to clean that stuff up because that's not even like bad football. That's just like, it is bad football. That's what I was going to say. These are things that can be prevented. It's not like most people got beat. No, hang on to the football. So those were the things that bothered me in terms of first half struggles, independent of turnovers. However, the turnovers were also a problem, Jake. So there was the James Cook fumble, the Isaiah McKenzie interception. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah, that was That should have been an Isaiah McKenzie fumble is what it should have been.
Yeah,
but,
seriously.
But I want to talk about, because the fumbles kind of, you talked about Devin Singletary, and I'm not going to bring Madden into this because we know Madden, but he's a beast in Madden. Kind of, last night, kind of what I was seeing was, okay, I feel like Zach Moss was not supposed to be as involved in that game as he ended up being, because I feel like his role, you notice he actually ended up catching the ball a lot, which is not something that we normally would think. I feel like that was supposed to be James Cook's role. They said they wanted to ease him into that. That's kind of what we drafted him. They say, he's a passing down back. You can line him out wide, and he has that fumble. And what happens after that? He gets in the McDermott doghouse. Kind of like how when Isaiah McKenzie got that ball intercepted, guess who came in? Jameson Crowder.
And balled out, by the way. That is one thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I do want to say shout out to Jameson Crowder. I didn't even want the kid. Like, I was like, let's just give Khalil Shakir the reps.
I know.
And Jameson Crowder came out there last night, and I found myself thinking, I am super happy anytime I see 80 in the camera frame. And obviously the interception happened, and then we saw significantly less of him. But I think he was pretty well for what he was asked to do.
Yeah, and like, there's a reason why we bring a guy like Jameson Crowder in, right? First of all, he looks so healthy. I do not know if anybody actually paid attention much to the Jets the last couple of years while he's been playing on their team. Constantly having a nagging ankle injury. He hasn't had that boost, kind of like that second gear that he had prior to him going to the Jets when he was with the Washington Commanders. So, like, last night, he catches kind of that little like swing pass out there, and like all of a sudden, boom, he's like going on. I'm like, oh, okay, Jameson Crowder. All right, there's that speed. My brother's sitting next to me. He's like, man, I didn't know Jameson Crowder still had that speed in him. And I'm like, there's one thing that we've noticed when people come to Buffalo, they'll take chances on guys that have maybe had a little bit of a injury history for them to come in because we have a top-notch medical staff. You get a guy like Jameson Crowder, you bring him in, you get him healthy. He's been putting up numbers with the Jets while he's been having a nagging ankle injury. Do not let him, if you're Isaiah McKenzie, if you are like gonna have like these, he ended up catching a touchdown on the day, and we'll talk about that. Isaiah McKenzie kind of makes up for himself. But like Jameson Crowder, right now they're kind of platooning those guys. Like, hey, we're gonna put in Isaiah McKenzie. Oh, okay, now we're gonna switch you out, put Crowder in. Crowder's a guy who's still a veteran in this league. He's still an upper tier slot receiver. And, if he's healthy now, that might have been a steal that we got in the offseason. Like, I can't talk about Jameson Crowder enough. James Cook, though, not what you want to see from him, right, Justus? Like, it's his first carry of the game. And it's not even like it's not even like a good defensive play where it gets punched out or something like that. It's literally he just gets hit and drops the ball. He doesn't keep a hold of it. And that's just like, if you were hoping that James Cook, and I'm sure he's going to get plenty of opportunities. You don't draft a guy as high as we did him, and then you just sit him for the rest of the year. But I still think that James Cook, like last night, probably was going to have more of a role. And, once you get in that McDermott doghouse, it takes you a while. And then the commentators go like, oh, finally, this guy's back out on the field. We see him. So overall, when you look at those turnovers, you see Isaiah McKenzie turnover, boom, Jameson Crowder's in, and he does fairly well. All right. James Cook, boom. He has a fumble. All right, we bring in Zach Moss again. He does fairly well. That has to speak to the depth of this team, man. Like, we got guys that, like, hey, we got dudes behind you that are dogs. So, like, if you're not going to do because we're a win now, man. Like, we're not a team that's just experimenting to see what we have, and hopefully it pans out. But we're a team that just dominated the Super Bowl champions. Like, you got to step up. You can't be having, a double catch. Like, I don't know what Isaiah McKenzie was trying to do with that ball on that play. You can't have James Cook just dropping the ball when it's not somebody trying to punch it out. Like, you can't have that. And there's dudes behind him that will take that roster spot so fast to where you might find yourself being inactive eventually. So we see these turnovers. I hope it's not a big factor for the Bills going forward. Hopefully they clean it up a little bit more. And of course, we'll talk about how it went in the second half. But yeah, turnovers, huge problem in the first half.
Certainly, you don't want to see that from your rookie running back in his first ever NFL carry, or anybody else for that matter, especially at that point in the game for James Cook. I think that was really the main problem. For instance, you remember
it keeps the Rams in the
49ers?
game. It keeps the Rams in the game.
You remember the 49ers game where we were on like our 1 yard line and Zach Moss gets the ball and fumbles immediately?
Yeah.
It was like, and then he landed in a doghouse. I think Zach Moss's fumble in this game is a little less consequential than James Cook's because of the timing of it. We were already winning. The game was over at that point, and he fumbled. And I would rather see James Cook on the field than Zach Moss personally. I just
100%
more, to the position and can do more, can make more plays, and just be more effective overall. But he got to get that. He got to earn that. And I don't have a problem saying that, especially when you consider that we have a talent like Devin Singletary out there to be the bell cow. He should be the bell cow running back, in my opinion.
I love that you brought that up, though. Is that like, why is Devin Singletary, after you saw what he could do at the end of last year?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
he still keeps
why will you still not give him a majority? Sure, make Zach Moss and Devin Singletary fight for 40% of the snaps.
Exactly.
Give Devin Singletary 60. Like, come on.
Our days of Josh Allen being the leading rusher need to be over. That needs to be over. Last night, Josh Allen was impressive when he ran the ball. He took way too many hits.
Yeah, I don't want him running the ball anymore.
To be honest, a lot of his runs weren't necessary. It was like, if you don't run on this play, is this going to change the game in any way? And a lot of those runs, you could say no. The stiff arm one where he got the first down was good. There was another one where he ran and got around some people for the first time. But like, those hits are not worth it. I'd rather you use your arm. And if everything else fails, that very last thing should be you running. Or Josh Allen is smart enough to be able to tell when he should and shouldn't run.
Yeah,
but I feel like last night he had a lot of opportunities where it was like, I'm going to pull it down and run at somebody because
it was a lot of off script running. There was one designed quarterback draw that we saw.
I didn't like that.
And like, that was kind of like, okay, because you knew as soon as he got the ball, boom, he tucked it and he ran. You knew that was designed. But all of the other stuff was Josh Allen making a decision. That was just him going like, you know what, I'm pulling this down and I'm running it. And we don't want to see him get hit. I understand. When it was earlier in his career and he was kind of more of a runner than he really was a pure passer, we all liked it. We were all like, yeah, there you go. But like, now it's kind of like, do we know what you are in the pocket? What up, Izzy? And like, we know what you are in the pocket. So now we kind of criticize him a little bit more when he pulls it down because we don't want to see him. We know what happens when you get hit that much. We see,
and granted, Josh Allen is bigger than mostly everybody else on the field, but it also comes down to I just don't want my quarterback putting himself in that position.
What happens if he gets tackled by Bobby Wagner and Bobby Wagner, while he's pulling him down, falls on his leg the wrong way? Boom, your season's pretty much over. Exactly. Like, that's why I don't like seeing it as much. I know it's part of his game. And like, you're not going to be able to tell Josh Allen don't do that. But as fans, we're all kind of like, Josh, maybe stop. Maybe stop a little bit.
And I can even respect the whole he needs to get hit to get, that whole thing.
Sure.
I get that. But you don't need to get hit, what do you run the ball 11 times or something? Like, you don't need to get hit 9 out of 11 times, so Josh, let's chill out a little bit.
And he's smiling every single time he does it, apparently.
Devin Singletary was laughing.
He's laughing
hysterically.
Dude, and like if he's laughing at people while he's doing that, that's gotta be getting those defenders like
pissed,
mad.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a baller though. He's a baller, he's trying to get in people's heads, so he's laughing. That's like Peyton Manning used to sit at he'd be behind the line of scrimmage and he'd like yell something. He'd be looking right at a player and then he'd like point at him and then he'd just smile at him before he just absolutely throws like a rope over his head.
You remember that commercial where he was like, it was a DirecTV. He was sitting in the pocket and he was talking to the camera. He was like, gotta go. He just threw a touchdown. That was the most disrespect. I'd be so pissed if I was a Titans fan.
Oh, man.
But all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Jake. Dominant defensive line. 7 sacks for the Buffalo Bills in week 1 versus the defending Super Bowl champions and their quarterback, Matt Stafford. They have 11 quarterback hits. Von Miller, 2 sacks. Gregory Rousseau chipped in with a sack. Jordan Phillips had 2 sacks. It was AJ Epinesa had a sack, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what the other one was. I think it might have been Daquan Jones. But and Boogie Basham even had an interception. Talk about this defensive line and what it could potentially mean for this Buffalo Bills defense and team overall.
So I'm just looking right now. It looks like the Bills had 27 sacks all of last year. 27. Justus, did you know?
1/4.
Yeah, like, dude. So this defensive line, we were going over show notes before we went on here. I said the Bills defensive line is finally worth the money. This defensive line, bro. Of course, we don't want to see Ed Oliver get hurt. That was one thing that, when he went down, I was like, oh, no. Thankfully, at least for what we know now, it might possibly not be as serious as maybe we thought it would be. Thank God. They're going to let him play. But when, again, I said there's dogs behind these guys that are ready to come in and play. Ed Oliver goes down. What happens? Jordan Phillips comes in and just has a day. Like, I see Jordan Phillips moving like a true 3 technique. He's swimming and crashing inside, and I'm going, oh my God, that's a big man doing that.
The energy he brought is different, yo.
Dude, he's again, I'm sitting there and I'm going like, man, I forgot how much I miss Jordan Phillips. That year where we had him and Shaq Lawson and they're sitting there at the Thanksgiving game and they're eating, gotta eat on Thanksgiving. Oh man, that was
iconic.
And of course, nobody's gonna talk about it, but I've been talking about it all season. We always talk about Daquan Jones. Like, he's quiet. You're not gonna really see the dude, getting a bunch of stats or anything like that. But he's the one over there anchoring that line to where Jordan Phillips and Von Miller just over there going, okay, we got one-on-ones. Let's go. And they're getting after Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford looked like how he did in Detroit, where he was having to just, try to get that ball off quick because he's getting swallowed up because that offensive line, Joseph Noteboom, like swallowed up Von Miller. One play at the beginning of the game, and they're like, oh, look at Noteboom right there. And what did Von Miller do the next play? He went to the outside, and then he swam inside, and he got to Matt Stafford, and I'm like, there it is. And it didn't stop for the rest of the game. Oh, man. This defensive line, I don't know if it's still the highest paid. We'll have to look at that, but it's definitely a really good paid defensive line, especially with Von Miller on it. It has to still be the highest paid defensive line. And like, it's worth it. It's so worth it. This is the D-line we've been waiting for. We have been waiting for this every year. I know we brought in Mario Addison. We were like, oh, all right. You know, like, hey, maybe this is going to be the answer. No. Finally, after, you know, a couple years of a subpar defensive line, not being able to get after, being able to get after the quarterback, you have McDermott walking in going like, I'm a defensive coach, damn it. Brandon, you get me an edge rusher. I don't care if it's Chandler Jones. I don't care if it's Von Miller. And then they lose out on Chandler Jones. And he's like, Von's getting ready to re-sign with whether it be the Broncos or Dallas or the Rams. He's like, no, you make that call now. And now and look at this defensive line. And then we bring back guys that were on that great 2019 defensive line. Like, dude, we said it felt like all the pieces were coming together to where this defensive line might be absolutely crazy this year. And if one game's the only sample size we have right now, and to go off of this, they look like they could be, and if they keep on this pace and they're able to get after quarterbacks like this, which again, we're going to go up against some better offensive lines. They could be last year, everybody was talking about it being a historical defense. This year, they could be a historical defense. And that is with a team that could also have a historical offense. This defensive line is absolutely crazy. Last night, I was getting more hype. Like the touchdowns, I was like, yeah, we're going to get those. You know, like we got that offense. I know about that. I've seen that the last 2 years. This defense, oh, man, that was something else. That had me hyped every single time they were back there. Absolutely making Matt Stafford have a hell of a day.
Absolutely. It was phenomenal to watch. It was fun. You take a look at my favorite part was, watching. Okay, so here's my thing, right?
Right. Okay. Right. All right.
When everybody was talking about how Tre'Davious White is out, you gotta have a rookie cornerback starting opposite of Dave Jackson. They're gonna be terrible.
Didn't even talk about. Can you imagine this defense when fucking Tre'Davious White comes back? Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
We didn't even have Tre'Davious White there. And in the offseason, people were saying that this is going to be a problem. We should sign a rookie or a veteran corner. Was I opposed to signing a veteran quarterback? No, because
are you talking about me? Because damn well that was me.
Oh, I was
the saying, veteran corner. I'm saying
it was a lot of people because it's not a nonsensical idea. It makes sense, right? Like I said, even I would be more comfortable with a veteran cornerback.
I would have been more comfortable with Joe Hayden out there starting the game against Allen Robinson than possibly Kyer Elam or Ben.
Which is fair. Yeah. That's a fair assessment. What I was saying was, you take a look at the secondary last season. We saw Dane Jackson and we saw Levi Wallace pretty much shut things down. Not shut them down, but do a very good job out there.
Hold down the fort.
Especially, exactly, without your all-pro quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But they were doing that, and they didn't even have a defensive front that was getting pressure on people. No. There was quarterbacks standing in the pocket with all the time in the world, and the secondary is blanketing people, and then he's not getting any rush, and the quarterback, he eventually finds someone to throw the ball to. If you remember, in the AFC divisional game, Patrick Mahomes basically ran the ball down the first drive on his own, right? So that was my thing. I was like, you have the addition of Von Miller. You bring that to a fourth year now of Ed Oliver, a second year of Greg Rousseau, the third year of AJ, the whole shebang, right?
Yeah.
And then you bring back Jordan Phillips, and you bring back Shaq Lawson, and you bring in Tim Settle, you bring in Daquan Jones, the whole thing. I'm like, well, that defensive line looks a lot better than it did last season. And these corners who were locking people up last year, in terms of what they were able to do, they were doing that with Levi and Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson is still here. Teron Johnson is still here. Mm-hmm. Do I think Levi Wallace is better than Kyer Elam? I don't. I'm sorry, I do not. I don't even think he's better than Christian Benford. So Now that we have a Kyrie Elam, a Christian Benford there to be able to replace the production of Levi Wallace, who I think they're better players, to me, that sounds like we should have similar production. But then you add a dominant defensive line, and of course, it was hard to see if it was hard to say if it was truly going to be dominant because we thought we had one last season, and clearly that wasn't.
We thought we have one the last 2 years. We're sitting here going like, "Hey, we're
here, they here,
line. And,
right?" And it just didn't pan out. But I was really focused on. I thought the defensive line was going to be better this year. And with that, I was like, if the defensive line can get to people, we've seen this secondary blanket receivers. So if the defensive line can get to people and make the quarterback have to force the ball out of his hands quicker, that leads to more turnovers. That leads to less completions. That leads to teams, being down and having to make their way back into the game. And guess what?
43. Stafford throws her cup. It's high and it's intercepted. Off the deflection, it's one of those safeties. Jordan Poyer with the pick. The second of Stafford tonight. Pass rush from A.J. Epinesa. And this Bills defense picking up where they left off last year. The Poyer pick gets it.
A.J. Epinesa is all up in his grill.
Oh, yeah.
It forces him to do that stupid no-look pass because he's trying to hold off the safety, the linebacker.
Yeah.
And, it ends up being high and inaccurate, and the Bills took advantage of that. That's what this defense needs. The defense needed pass rush to create more opportunities for turnovers, and that's exactly what we saw. Now, the Rams' offensive line was missing some pieces and looked like hot boo-boo garbage, so I don't want to be overly confident, right?
Yeah.
Because 7 sacks may look good this week, but remember what we did to Miami last year, and then they just kind of didn't show up again. So I do want to see that, and I do hope that this is something that we can see consistently. Because if you take this defensive line and if they continue to be dominant, and you add that to this dominant secondary, and then the linebackers are nothing to sneeze at either. This defense can not only be the number one defense, but even be beyond, because now we got even better players.
Exactly. That's why I said historical. I like Izzy too, just before we finish up on this defensive line, shutting down the run. We held them to 3.3 yards a carry. Akers, I'm pretty sure only got I'm pretty sure Cam Akers fantasy owners probably all jumped off bridges last night.
Sure.
Because he had like 3 carries and did absolutely nothing. Darrell Henderson is, again, I wouldn't say go claim him, but I'm sure claims for Darrell Henderson went up in many fantasy leagues. So, yeah, dude, the run game, everything, dude, everything looked like it was clicking. I really hope it doesn't fall off. And, I hope they continue to be able to finally, you give Leslie Frazier this kind of... Izzy. Well, Izzy, I'm glad you're still here, my friend. And I think you give Leslie Frazier this kind of defensive line. You gave him a Von Miller, who Von Miller is healthy now. Oh my God, dude! Like the sky's the limit for this defense.
Absolutely. That'll bring us into second half domination. And second half domination includes one of my favorite topics that. We only see once this year, maybe 2 if we should still see the Rams again and later on in the season. But toast Ramsey. So Stephon Diggs, of course. Well, he didn't shadow Stephon Diggs. He played his own little zone or whatever. But Jalen Ramsey was thrown at 7 times.
Yeah,
6 of those passes were completed. He allowed a perfect. Quarterback rating. And let me show you guys how.
Watch this throw. There is about a 2-foot window in there. Diggs with a great route, working against arguably the best in football on the outside with Ramsey.
And stay on his feet. Like, look at this. Like, it's hold on. Before I got one more. Hold on, I'm sorry. I got to replay. It's only 12 seconds.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Watch this throw. There is about a 2-foot window in there. Diggs with a great route, working against arguably the best in football on the outside with Ramsey.
You got Jalen Ramsey getting just absolutely destroyed by Stephon Diggs on the short game.
3rd and 4. Allen stepping up and now floating it downfield, and Diggs is behind the secondary. Stumbles, but brings it in. Buffalo touchdown. Stephon Diggs extends to a 3-score lead.
On the outside, that's Jalen Ramsey, and I think he was expecting, this is called a quarters coverage. I think he was going to expect some help by the inside safety. And
so
don't want to get us taken down on YouTube.
For you guys that don't know, quarters coverage means they're playing four men deep, right? That is both your cornerbacks, outside cornerbacks, and your safeties all have a specific area of the deep field that they're covering, right? Apparently Ramsey is supposed to be expecting help, but I don't know what he would be expecting help for in four-man coverage if that's what they were in. So I don't know what that's about, but I just watched Stephon Diggs run all by you. Like, in some level, he was your responsibility. And he just got absolutely toasted. So what would you think about Stephon Diggs and how he was able to just, both Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs was able to dominate Jalen Ramsey last night?
So there's a consensus that I won't say it because I don't think it. I don't think a lot of people still think it, that Ramsey is the best corner in the league. That really, like, he gets beat. It's not that, like, he'll lock down people, but when it comes to true number one talents like Stephon Diggs, guys that are just pure route runners and are able to get the best of them like that, like, it's not close. He's not a Revis. He's not a prime Richard Sherman. He's not one of those guys. He's not, like, if he's truly one of the best corners in the league right now, which there are corners out there. Hell, I would even say Xavier Howard is probably, like, kind of just like up to him, and Byron Jones. Like, those guys, Ramsey is not that dude. He gets exposed. And I mean, you saw it right there. You get a dude who can run a decent route. He can put Jalen Ramsey's ankles in 3 different spots on the field on one route. Like, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, like, Jalen Ramsey, again, he's not trash. Thank you, Jalen Ramsey. I'm glad you're in the chat. I'm glad you were able to stop in here. You know, there's a lot of people saying that you should get traded. I hope you stay on the Rams because I hope we see you again and Stephon Diggs can show you how bad you are at football again in the Super Bowl. But it's really just, God, man, Ramsey's a guy who does all this talking. Like, I'm sure we all noticed it. Is that there's that one play in the back of the end zone where Ramsey breaks it up and he starts talking to Diggs, and then Diggs does that. He looks at him and he does that.
He didn't break it up. Diggs just kind of it went off his fingertips.
Yeah, it kind of went off his fingertips, and Jalen Ramsey's in the area. You know how defensive backs are, bro. They can be 5 yards away, and then the dude, like, drops the pass, and they'll be like, "No, sir,
right. Yeah.
no fly zone here." So, like, it's just like he gets that breakup. Do you remember when we played the Patriots? And he looked at JC Jackson and he went that close after JC Jackson started talking that junk. And what happened? JC Jackson got exposed the rest of the game. Stephon Diggs is a dude that, like, if you think you're going to lock that man down, he's going to make you look stupid on the field. And he did that to Jalen Ramsey. Like,
he most certainly did. And we have a few more topics that we need to get through before we make our picks. So we're going to zoom through this just quickly. Our word of the day, Jake Jordan. You want to give the people our word of the day?
Sure. All right, class. The word of the day is efficiency. So I'm definitely, you know what? I'll crack one to that. There you go, Jalen. That's a pre-workout I'm drinking during the stream. I'm gonna be hyped.
Yo, those things are crazy.
Yeah. So so yeah, the word of the day, if you can bring it back up, class, is efficiency. Why is it efficiency? Well, the Buffalo Bills found a way in the second half to efficiently lay a absolute smackdown on the defending Super Bowl champs.
Jake, did you just say SmackDown?
Smack down.
Up and through, there'd be nobody there. And then it's just one-on-one against a tremendous athlete in Nick Scott, a guy that was Saquon Barkley's backup running back, and take that.
Bro,
That's our quarterback, yo. Oh,
I bet The Rock could smell what Josh Allen was cooking right there. Oh man, that was nuts. But yeah, efficiency. I mean, we got to just talk about it. This Bills defense single-handedly at halftime said, no more. These Rams are not going to score a single point for the rest of the game. And they didn't. The Rams only scored 10 points in the second quarter, and they never scored again for the rest of the game. Off turnovers. And, you know, where does the offense come into this? Well, Josh Allen, for the entire game, 26 of 31, 297 yards.
85% passing, yo.
85%. He set the single game record for a Buffalo Bills quarterback with passing percentage. Also, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One again should have been an Isaiah McKenzie fumble, but it wasn't. And he had an 89.9 QBR.
50 passing, 53 rushing.
Yeah. And then, okay, well, where did those passes go to? Well, he efficiently threw it to Stephon Diggs 8 times for 122 yards and 1 touchdown. And then he threw it efficiently to Gabe Davis 4 times. This is even more efficiency. 4 times for 88 yards and a touchdown.
That's 22 yards per catch for those of you who are.
Yeah, for the math. You do the math. That is absolutely insane. And then, of course, we already went over the stats that the defense had of hitting the quarterback. Just the Buffalo Bills. If there was a picture of what efficiency in a NFL game would look like, you would probably see. Yeah, actually, Paul Hood, you are correct there. Josh Allen had 10 straight completions to start a game before that Isaiah McKenzie cough.
It was 11. I think he got to 11, and then
was it?
I think the pick was after that.
No, I don't think so, because they did the 10. They brought up the little graphic, and then it happened, and I was like, they jinxed him. You got to be shitting me. Anyway.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead and fact check that one. So yeah. Oh man, this team efficiency. If there was an NFL, just like, all right, what picture do we put here? And Roger Goodell had to be like, He wouldn't look at this game. He would look at the Bills playing the Patriots in the playoffs, the perfect game. That's the most efficient game I think I've ever seen in my life.
And the next week where he played the Chiefs was arguably more efficient. That's the crazy part. Like,
oh man, it is just safe to say that this Buffalo Bills team, they're built different. They're built different. So, yeah.
All right.
We're gonna be using that a lot. We're gonna be
for sure. That's what we need.
It's a lot easier to say built different. Like, yeah, that guy's built different than it is to be that guy's first round bye.
Absolutely. Since we're pressed through time, we're going to skip over this. Not skip over it, but I do want to send a shout out to Leslie Frazier. Absolutely bonkers. To allow 10 points when your offense gave up the ball 4 times is absolutely nuts. Finally got him a defensive line. Shout out to Leslie Frazier. You get a game ball. But
and shout out to the whole coaching staff, Ken Dorsey included.
Well, that's why I wanted to skip this segment so that we can get to Dorsey's first dance.
There you go.
Right? Ken Dorsey had his first official NFL game calling plays for the Buffalo Bills, and he was supposed to be this new guy, and Brian Daboll is this urban legend where he's like the greatest coordinator in the history of the world.
Oh yeah, he made Josh Allen. Didn't you know that?
He created Josh Allen.
Yeah,
he's the only reason the Bills were any good.
Oh yeah.
So what did you think of Dorsey's first outing?
I love this offense so much more. Like we brought it up. Remember, he had just got hired. We were doing a show, me, you, and he might not actually have even been hired yet, but it was me, you, Jay Spence, and Joe Miller. We were talking about it, and we were talking about the run game. What do you think Ken Dorsey's going to do a little bit differently? And I was like, I think it's going to be a lot more. I forget what I said. It was they were going to like do it more or something like that, but it was going to be more effective. Devin Singletary, again, in times when it mattered, every single time Devin Singletary got the ball, I assumed he was probably going to get 6 or 8 yards because Aaron Cromer and what he's done with this offensive line, it looks absolutely amazing. And it allows Ken Dorsey to call these run plays. And now that the Bills can efficiently run the ball, and again, this is a 1-game sample size. So if you think that we're overreacting, like it's all we have to go off of, right? This is the only game we've really seen Ken Dorsey call against a starting NFL defense.
He was the passing coordinator previous to this.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, I see this and I go, wow, there's and yeah, 100% Paul Hood. There were some interesting formations that the offense were set up in. It looks, it's not the same thing. A lot of people thought, oh, well, he's just going to bring what Brian Daboll did. No. There's an efficient run game here that he can lean on if, say, oh, well, there's an interception. Oh, there was okay. There's an efficient run game there waiting to be used and utilized, and they can use the run to set up the pass or vice versa. It's so much more intricate. And, man, I want to believe that Ken Dorsey is going to just, based off of one game, like, can we already say it? Like, we already saw what Brian Daboll did. Just look at the first game Brian Daboll had against the Steelers last year. Fair. It comes out and we're like, all right, what's Brian Daboll going to do? They laid an egg. And that was some of the worst play calling ever.
That's a great point, because you know what I saw often? I saw Reggie Gilliam and Dawson Knox both in the backfield, helping blocking. And what did we see from Brian Daboll last year? Absolutely no help. He allowed Melvin Ingram and TJ Watt to run rampant all over this offensive line. That's a great point, Jay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so when you look at that, it's just kind of like Ken Dorsey, he looks like he gets it. He just gets it. And plus he's a former quarterback, so he kind of just like knows. He knows that Josh Allen needs that protection. You're going up against a team that has Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald on a defensive line. That's why we see those guys back there for protection for Josh, to give him more time for receivers to open up down the field. And it is just like, just watching it, I felt like this isn't the same Bills offense. It was a weird, like, the Bills were really good last year on offense, but this one feels like this team can switch it up every single week. Just kind of like what I saw, I was like, oh, they're calling, like with Brian Daboll, you'd see the same things kind of over and over again, and he would try to make them work. Yeah. Whereas it looks like when something's not working for Ken Dorsey, hence look at that second quarter where nothing was really like they were moving the ball, but there were some turnovers and things like that. Ken Dorsey switches a little bit up at halftime, and the Bills just go absolutely crazy for the rest of the game. I think we're going to see that to where Ken Dorsey is going to be very multifaceted. And this offense isn't just going to be they're going to throw the ball 50 times. No, like they're going to switch it up to whatever they need to do to win. And it looks like that Ken Dorsey just has his fingers on the pulse of what is going to make this team take that next step forward to be able to beat teams and have great postseason success. And oh man, I can't wait. It's one game, I know, but oh man, I'm high on this Ken Dorsey juice, man. I'm buying what he's selling.
Absolutely, I'm high on him as well. And honestly, I could argue that Ken Dorsey called pretty much a perfect game.
Yeah.
You know, when you take into consideration
against the champs,
the turnovers against the
champions,
you know, and Aaron Donald is on the other side of that football field. Jalen Ramsey, the number one cornerback according to PFF, is on the other side of the football field. When I take into consideration the only real hiccups the Bills offense had was turnovers. The Isaiah McKenzie turnover, it was probably not the greatest throw in the world from Josh, although you would like to see Crowder, you know, run towards the ball as opposed to fade out the way he did. Still wasn't the best throw in the world. That wasn't Dorsey's fault. The McKenzie interception wasn't Dorsey's fault. Neither fumble was Dorsey's fault. He just called the plays. They went out there and executed them. What was it? The one play where we ended up kicking a field goal, and that was an out route to Gabriel Davis, who lost his foot, and the dude was grabbing all over him. They didn't give him the call. But, man, Ken Dorsey absolutely showed up and showed out. So before we get into our NFL Week 1 picks, guys, this is going to be so fun watching football now that we don't have to worry about if the Bills win or not.
Man.
You just watch football knowing that you're already winning. It's the best. So we're going to go ahead and give out our players of the game.
Yes, sir.
I'll do offense, you do offense, then you do defense, and I'll do defense.
Sure.
So my offensive player of the game, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Stephon Diggs. You know, we have 8 catches, 122 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 8 catches, 122 and a touchdown. Yeah. And
not only that, but, you know, whether Jalen Ramsey is the best corner in the league or not is up to just the debate. Do I think he's the best? No. But he still is a dog. Like, Jalen Ramsey is still like that. And Stephon Diggs went out there and made him look silly. You know?
I mean, that's what I said when I said, like, I'm looking at Xavier and Howard, J.C. Jackson, those guys. I'm like,
still dogs.
Yeah, I'm like, they're dogs. Like, that's what they are. But are they the best corners? No.
Stephon Diggs be going out there and making them all look silly.
Yeah, exactly.
Stephon Diggs is like that. So my offensive player of the game is Stephon Diggs. So you got Jay Jordan.
Man, I want to give it to Josh Allen. Because really there's only a couple of players that I say you could give it to. Obviously, I'd be biased if I gave it to Gabe Davis, but he had a hell of a showing in his first game back.
Yeah, those 2 huge deep catches.
Oh, yeah,
huge.
Exactly.
Both
so, of course, that pads the stats. He gets the first touchdown. But I believe that Stephon Diggs is probably like just for what he did against Jalen Ramsey, he deserves to have that offensive player of the game nomination. So I'm going to agree with you there. I think Stephon Diggs, that offensive player of the game. If Josh Allen's still 26 to 31, 297, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He basically only threw 1 interception, and, you know, so it would be 3 touchdowns, 1. That's still not bad. It's under 300 yards. I think just Stephon Diggs in a game where you assume he's going to get blanketed and covered and they're gonna all eyes on Diggs. All eyes were on Diggs, and he still got 8 receptions, 122 and a touchdown. So he deserves that offensive player of the game.
There were 2 specific eyes on Diggs. It was Jalen Ramsey watching him run past.
Yeah, watching him. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jake Jordan, who is your defensive player of Week 1 for the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, well, you know, as much as I'd love to give it to Jordan Phillips for all that energy he was bringing coming in, and there were some great plays where you have Jordan Poyer gets the pick. You got Dane Jackson absolutely reading Matt Stafford and getting the pick. That had me hyped up. You even have the Boogie Basham tipping the ball and then taking the ball. Like, that was a great play too. But it's Von Miller coming in against his former team and going back there and getting 2 sacks, even though I would argue it should be 1.5. And Ed Oliver should get half a sack. But, you know, they gave him the 2 sacks, so he gets it. Yeah, I just think that Von Miller is the X factor. And Von Miller, like, in his first game in, showed why we're paying this man this money. He absolutely has taking this defensive line and this pass rush. He's what we've been looking for. And he could be like, he keeps saying, like, I think I'm the answer for this team to get them to the Super Bowl. I'm that last piece they needed. And I believe him. I believe him because what he did the other day has me believing. So, yeah, I got to give it to Von Miller.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. Von Miller is going to get my defensive player of the game nod as well. I talked about it this morning on the Believe in Bill show with Ruben Brown and Coach Mickey Hawkins. He gives us something that we haven't had in Buffalo since Mario Williams, and that is a defensive rusher who is going to dominate the man across from him, right? You take a look at your Shaq Lawsons and last year your Gregory Rousseaus, right? Your Mario Addisons, even Jerry Hughes. It wasn't like, oh, I'm better than the guy across from me and I'm going to show him every single play. It was more like, oh, our defense is, our secondary is spectacular and the quarterback has nowhere to throw the ball. I'm just going to keep working hard and eventually the quarterback falls into my lap and we get a sack. Von Miller said none of that. He just went straight up. And if he didn't, run him into his own quarterback, he was, going up and under him and getting to it was absolutely phenomenal to watch. So Stephon Diggs and by the way, guys, feel more than free to let us know what you guys think about who is your team MVP for this week. So for offense, me and Jake, we both actually have the same MVPs for both offense and defense, Stephon Diggs and Von Miller. My man Paul Hood, his offensive MVPs are Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Devin Singletary. I like that Devin Singletary. Nah, he deserved it. When he touched the ball, he did what he needed to do with it, and that's all you can ask for. Like, it's not his fault that they don't give him enough touches. So
yeah, exactly.
I like that. Paul Hood's defensive MVPs are Vaughn, Phillips, and Basham. I couldn't agree more. I would say my number 3 would be Christian Benford, just because 6th-round rookie coming in, having to cover Allen Robinson and Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee. Like, that's crazy. So I would give the 3rd one to Christian Benford. And you didn't hear his name all night, which is a really good thing from the quarterback position.
That's what I said about Dane Jackson when we were watching the game. He got the interception, and I was like, it's a really good thing when you don't hear. I used to say it about Levi all the time too. Yeah. When you don't hear their name, that's a good thing because that means they're doing what they need to do.
Exactly. So we're going to go ahead and get into our week 1 game picks. Just to recap, the Buffalo Bills destroy the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams 31-10.
Up and through, there'd be nobody there, and then it's just one-on-one against a tremendous athlete in Nick Scott, a guy that was Saquon Barkley's backup running back, and take that.
He dribbled his face off the turf. It's crazy. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our game picks. Mr. Jake Jordan, take it away, brother.
So, of course, this is J&J's weekend picks, and I'm going to get a little bit of background music playing here because we get some NFL films playing. J&J's weekend picks brought to you by the beautiful people over at Rev Masters, the originated online sportsbook. It's your number 1 online casino and sports betting home. Bet anywhere, anytime, and on anything with Rev Masters. If you are a loved one or affected by gambling addiction, please reach out to the National Gambling Helpline at 1-800-522-4700. Justus, of course, we started off both saying the Bills were going to get the W. And now we've got a whole list of teams to go through in their matchups, a couple of big ones. And we're going to be doing this every single week. And make sure in the comment section to tell us who you guys think are going to win these certain matchups as well. But we have, I don't know where you want to start with this. I guess we'll just go Bills down and we'll just keep going on each row. So me and Justus are both 1-0. So we're going to start off Browns, Panthers, the return of Baker Mayfield to the Browns. Justus, I'm looking at this one, man. I think this is going to be a great game.
That is going to be a good game. It's going to be full of emotion. It's going to be full of a good story. The number one overall pick, has to defend his new home versus his old team that drafted him, that also courted a guy who had 20 plus sexual assault charges against him. So that's got to be pretty embarrassing. But here, look, man, all you guys know I'm not fond of Baker Mayfield. But if you let a depleted Browns team come into your new house and beat you, I'm going to never in my life ever believe in Baker Mayfield again. But for now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't know if he fully deserves, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say that the Panthers win this one 24-21.
Oh, you want to give score predictions?
No, that was just off the cuff.
I was like, all right, well, then we're going to do a little bit more preparing for next time. But I'm going to have to say, yeah, who was your pick? I'm writing them down so that I know how to. Okay, Panthers. They've got, so it's going to be Jacoby Brissett playing with the Browns. The Browns have Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones. The Panthers, they have a couple of decent cornerbacks. I'm going to have to say here that I think Baker Mayfield comes in with that chip on his shoulder, Justus, and I think he's getting that dub here for the Panthers. I feel like the Browns are going to have some tough sledding to do, and I think that this game, Baker Mayfield has something to prove. Matt Rule, his job is on the line pretty much if Baker Mayfield doesn't pan out. I think this is a game that, they're really going to want to win, and I think that the Panthers pull this one out.
Absolutely. I have to agree. Steelers, Bengals, a AFC North division
another big
matchup.
One.
Great matchup here. I do not believe in the Bengals. As you guys know, they are my dog water pick for this year. And I believe I said they won't make the playoffs.
Yeah, you did.
So
you're drinking dog water, I'm telling you.
No, I'm not. And
yeah,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. TJ Watt is coming here into Cincinnati. And I don't care how much you short up your offensive line. That's TJ Watt, okay? TJ Watt is top 3. And he's different unless you have freaking prime Jason Peters over there. I'm not sure how you're going to deal with TJ Watt. The defense is always vaunted and always highly regarded. I'm going to say that Coach Mike Tomlin has more tools to go out there and win this game than Zach Taylor. He's still young. His team is still young. I think the Steelers find a way to get this W.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, too. Now, I don't agree with you with the Bengals not making the playoffs, but I think that a lot of people have written the Steelers team off. And, we know Mike Tomlin, one of the best in the game. And
all time.
Yeah, so I think that Mitch Trubisky, he wins the starting job. I know everybody's like, oh, Kenny Pickett's pushing him or whatever. No, they paid Mitch Trubisky. I've said it ever since they did it. Mitch Trubisky has the ability with a great coaching staff with the Steelers to become their next franchise quarterback if they want him to be. So I definitely believe that this game still, that defense of the Steelers, they are going to go off. And I think the Bengals, they say the Super Bowl hangover is usually real since 2009. That actually hasn't been the case. The Super Bowl loser has usually had a pretty good success. So I think the Bengals are still going to have some success, but in a heated rivalry game like this, I think the Steelers pull that one out. So, Justus, another inter-conference game.
Divisional
game. Colts, Texans. I mean, do you really think that the Texans have built enough to be able to take on the juggernaut that is Jonathan Taylor and that Colts offensive line?
I will say that I think the Texans probably have a better shot than people think they do. Mm-hmm. But I think that the Colts, if they do what they're supposed to do, if they don't go out there and beat themselves, they should win this game. So I'm going to say Colts win this one 28-17. I don't think it'll be that close.
Again, not giving people already giving us their week 2 picks and their Mike Hartle saying Bills 44, Titans 7.
That's not what we do.
We're talking about.
Thank you for that, though.
Yeah, I'll keep that one in mind whenever we're talking about that game next Friday. But yeah, no, the Colts should handle business right here. Look, this Houston Texans defensive line with Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes, they're not going to be able to stop Jonathan Taylor. We know that. They weren't able to do it last year with us. So I think that I think that the Texans might take a little bit of a step forward this year. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. I'm already on record of saying that's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. But
that's the dog water bet, y'all.
Yeah, that's my dog water bet. But I mean, they got Geno Smith as their quarterback, dog. Like, I'm not really worried about that one at all. But the Texans, you never know with these interdivision games. But the Colts, if they drop this one, it's an embarrassment. They need to win this one. They need to start off the Matt Ryan era with the Colts needs to start off with a bang, and I think they get an easy one here with the Houston Texans. And then Joe Flacco and the New York Jets facing off against the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think here, Justus? I think this one might be a little closer than people think, just because that Jets defensive line is still pretty real. Like, it's they might have lost their. I'm not saying they're going to score a bunch of points, but I'm not saying that they're just going to get like bounced like 40-0 here.
First of all, Spin, welcome to the show. Turn on FAMbase post notifications, and you'll never miss a show ever.
Yes, slap that bell notification.
Slap
button.
the bell, absolutely.
Here,
I mean, this is pretty easy. Even if it was Tyler Huntley and not Lamar, I'm still picking the Ravens here. I don't think it'll be particularly close. I am a little, I don't want to say excited, because I'm not like excited to see them do good, but I am going to be scouting guys like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and, see what these guys look like. These guys could be, big deals in the division, going forward for years to come. So I'm definitely going to keep a close eye on this game to see what those guys look like, but the Ravens should win this one in a landslide. What you got, G?
Yeah, I think too. I think the Ravens win this one. Look, Joe Flacco, there's a bunch of talent on this New York Jets team, man, but they're young. I don't know if, having Joe Flacco out there is really going to be the answer offensively for them. I think their defense is probably going to be just fine. I don't think they're going to get absolutely destroyed, but I think the Jets definitely they pulled off that. If you look at their schedule, they got a pretty hard beginning of their schedule, and that sucks that they have to roll out there with Joe Flacco, or maybe it's better than rolling out with Zach Wilson. Who knows? So definitely taking the Baltimore Ravens in that one. We also get another interdivision.
Hold on. We picked all the same teams in that first column.
Yeah, so we're basically all we're agreeing. I know there's some we're going to disagree with here.
I think this next one is what we're going to disagree with here. We got this divisional rival matchup between the Saints and the Falcons. Who you got for that game?
It's the Saints, dude. The Falcons. Artie Smith with Marcus Mariota, they've got some things that they're trying to prove, and I just think that Jameis Winston with Michael Thomas finally coming back, and they got Chris Olave, and they signed Jarvis Landry, and they've got Alvin Kamara because he's not suspended. I think that finally, if I'm just going based off of what I saw with Jameis last year before he got hurt, if he's that same kind of player, and they're able to do something, I know Sean Payton's not there anymore, but if they're just able to have any success there, Cam Jordan in that defense, they're probably going to be just fine. And yeah, I think they handle business against the Falcons.
So for this game, I actually have the Falcons winning. I believe in Marcus Mariota. I believe in Cordell Patterson. Kyle Pitts. Oh man, they don't have. What is his name? The kid who got caught gambling.
Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley. They don't have Calvin Ridley, but I think that Drake London's going to be able to come in, and although I was not a big proponent of him, during the draft because I feel like he's just a big body and he's not that fast, he was drafted for a reason. So they need to figure out a way to make him effective and put the ball in his hands. The reason I'm going with the Falcons here is just because I feel like they have enough talent where they might be able to sneak away with this one. And the fact that Sean Payton is not there for the Saints kind of has me feeling like a little wavery. So I don't really know what to expect from those guys. But
all right,
next up, we got the 49ers versus the Chicago Bears. It's an interconference matchup. You got your first start for Trey Lance as the starting quarterback for the 49ers, and second-year man Justin Fields as well. Not making his first start, but they're both second-year men. Who you got in this game, Jake?
I'm still taking the 49ers in this game because the one benefit that the Bears have that the 49ers don't have is that if their starting quarterback is terrible, they have a good backup that can come in. Now with the 49ers still having Jimmy G. Only problem for the 49ers is no George Kittle this week. So that's going to be a problem for them. He's one of their most reliable weapons, but I think they're going to be just fine. I think the Bears are going to be absolutely terrible this year. I feel so bad for Justin Fields because he's going to have to deal with one of the worst O-lines I think I've seen a NFL team put out to date, and I've seen the Jets play. So this is not a tough one for me. I'm going 49ers.
Here, I actually have the Bears to lose this game very badly to the 49ers.
He had us in the first half, not going to lie.
Oh, my God, Smith. Damn, bro.
Dang. I don't wish that upon anybody.
Yeah, I don't wish that on them. But I think Justin Fields is very, very extremely talented. I am kind of excited for them to suck this year so that he can be traded somewhere else.
And
they can try to go get whatever quarterback they're going to ruin next. But I would like him to get up out of that situation and go somewhere where he might actually have an opportunity to play and win. But next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. This is a game of a team in the Eagles who are supposed to be good on paper versus Lions who have been terrible recently, but they are visibly, theoretically getting better. Who you got?
So the Eagles have basically, they're all in. They're all in right now, and Jalen Hurts, it all comes down to Jalen Hurts. And, surprisingly for the Lions, over half of their games last year, they lost by one score. They were in one-score games and they lost. So they're always a scrappy team. I think Dan Campbell, they're on Hard Knocks. Everybody's drinking that juice and everything right now. But the Eagles have to win this game. Like, they're the team in the NFC that everybody's going like, oh, yeah. Like, that's the team that if Jalen Hurts just takes that next step, boom. Like, they're going to be up there. Them, the Rams, and the Bucs should be competing to see who's going to go to the Super Bowl. And I think the Eagles win this one.
So, Spin, actually, he says Eagles win, but I'm going to take this as his upset alert. And I'm going to say that because he said if he had to pick an upset, he would pick the Lions over the Eagles.
Yeah, I feel like every single week you could go whoever the Lions are playing. It could be upset alert because the Lions, they have that energy. So did you also pick the Eagles?
They feel like they're building something over there in Detroit, and it looks like it could be pretty decent. I don't want to say special because we'll see what happens. They still need a quarterback. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles here. A.J. Brown, that defense is ridiculous. Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox.
Yeah,
man, that defense is loaded. So, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Eagles there. And then we have another divisional rival. Got a lot of divisional games in week one. We have the Patriots versus the Dolphins. Obviously, Patriots finished second in the AFC East last year. Dolphins finished third. And they've kind of been, on there battling each other out for that second spot over the last few years while the Bills have reigned supreme. Who you got here in this game, Jake?
I'm taking the Patriots. So I understand all the hype is with the Dolphins. Of course, they got Tyreek. Let's see what Tua looks like. Only problem is every single time the Dolphins meet the Patriots, it's a good game usually. It's not a blowout. They're one of these games where these teams, even during the height of the New England era, were just like, and Spin, I understand why you would pick Miami. This is my I don't think it's an upset just because I think, look, yeah, they're play callers in they're on the offensive side of the ball. Josh McDaniels Tua is 3-0 against the Pats. Did he get hurt the first game of last season?
I think that might have been when Ryan Fitzpatrick was starting.
Was that still Ryan Fitzpatrick was with the team? I thought it was Jacoby.
Well, no. So this would have been in Tua's rookie season. That's why he doesn't have the full 4 games.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, Tebow could be. I think Tebow could be better than Tua. Look, I think that the Patriots. Look, they were in the playoffs last year. They lose J.C. Jackson. I understand, but I've seen Bill Belichick pull like Walmart shopping baggers, cart boys, and make them into pretty decent defensive players. So I think the safe pick is the Dolphins here, but I just have a feeling Bill Belichick's going to pull one out, and the Dolphins are going to start out 0-1.
That's fair enough. I don't like this game because I am in no way, shape, or form rooting for the Dolphins. Like, if there was ever possible to like a team less than the Patriots, I actually like the Dolphins less than the Patriots now, just because of how they run their organization. It seems pretty scummy to me. And so
every NFL team is usually has a bunch of scumbags in it, but it's a business
for
baby.
Sure. But I mean, only one, is being sued.
Yeah, you just got to be bad to get caught.
Yeah, exactly. So. And I mean, I don't know if I don't know. I'm not going to speak anything ignorantly without having a full scope of the situation, but I don't like the way that the Dolphins did Brian Flores. I don't like the way the Dolphins did Tua, to be quite honest with you, and I don't even like Tua. But I just don't think the Patriots are going to be good this year. I think they're going to be dead last in the AFC East, and I don't think that I could see them being the top 10 pick. So that's the only reason I'm going with the Dolphins here. But
I agree, Paul Hood. If only they could tie, or if they could both lose. Can they both lose? Look, I've been on record as saying I think that Mike McDaniel comes off like a used car salesman. Like he's trying to get you to buy into Tua when like the brakes are shot and there's rust on the frame and there's some. He doesn't want to show you the Carfax with Tua.
It feels phony. Like I don't believe him as a leader of men. I don't believe that the Dolphins are like, this is the guy who we're going to go to war for. I just don't. He doesn't give me that vibe. I think he could be. He was a great coordinator, but as a leader of men, I got to see it. Yeah,
it's not like Robert Saleh. When Robert Saleh left,
so much charisma. Yeah.
Robert Saleh, you could see, was the leader of that defense as a coach. Mike McDaniel, not so much. He looks like a dude out of Mike McDaniel's hiding the Kelly Blue Book from the customers. That's exactly, hilarious. Spin. So he just gives me those kind of vibes, and I'm just not digging it. I think that Tyreek Hill, he's going to be fine, but every single time the Patriots have played the Chiefs, they give him a good game too. So I don't think that Tua is really going to improve that much so the Patriots aren't still going to be able to get the best of them. So I think the safe pick, at least in my mind, is the Patriots. A lot of people are going to go Dolphins. So are you Dolphins on this one or Pats?
I'm Dolphins just because I think the Patriots are going to be terrible.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have, what is this? Oh no, it's a couple. There's a few. All right, so we have another intra-conference game. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who look like they could have a decent season. You know, they look pretty promising. And then the Washington Commanders. If you would have told me 3 years ago that they just got Carson Wentz, I would have been like, yo, the Commanders might be a problem this year. But this isn't 3 years ago. So who you got?
I'm taking the Jags on this one.
Ooh.
And that's because, you know, I sit here and I was talking about a lot of my football conversations that I have are at the gym. A lot of and I'm in like almost the heart of Jaguars country. And look, there is buzz about what Doug Peterson is doing with this team. They go out, they spend money, they've got decent weapons now. They've got a running back in James Robinson and Travis Etienne both coming back. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence finally is going to have a coach that has coached at a level and helped develop Carson Wentz before Carson Wentz went off the deep end. And there's more optimism and more energy with this Jaguars team than there has been since probably Saxonville days. And I believe that Washington is kind of on their last legs. They've had so much controversy, so much stuff going on with their organization. They bring in Carson Wentz, and they just don't feel like a team that's really going anywhere. They feel like a team that's on the downtrend, and the Jaguars feel like the team that could come in this year and look like a completely different team than what we've seen in the last couple of years from them. And I think that Trevor Lawrence, especially just from what I saw in the preseason from him, looks like he's taken a bit of a step forward with this better coaching staff. And yeah, I'm all in. I think the Jags win this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. I actually have the Jaguars making the playoffs out of the AFC South. You know, being the division winner there. So that was my hot take I did on Sunday in February with my man Caveman. I had the Jaguars coming out of the AFC South, and I think this is where it starts. You know, I think they come out and they make a statement win over a team that isn't good, but you know, isn't awful either.
They're mid.
Yeah, mid. The definition of mid. Absolutely. So we both have the Jaguars there. Now we get into the meat and potatoes.
Some spicy games, man.
Some spicy games. First up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tyreek Hill-less Kansas City Chiefs take on newly paid Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Who you got, Jake Jordan?
I'm taking the Chiefs. Just because no D-Hop, and when I look at the defensive side of the ball, they lose Chandler Jones. So I'm kind of going like, all right, what is this Arizona Cardinals team going to be this year? They're one of the teams that I think that made the playoffs last year that won't make it this year. And I think they did make the playoffs last year, right?
Who, the Chiefs?
No,
Cardinals?
the Cardinals.
Yeah, and they got stomped in the first.
Yeah,
round.
they got destroyed. That's what I thought. And then, I think Kansas City, again, their coaching staff, I think is much better. They've got a much better quarterback. I mean, say what you want about Kyler Murray. You know, he just got paid. Good for him. Patrick Mahomes is a much better quarterback from him. I just think that the Chiefs haven't taken that far. Yeah, they lose a guy in Tyreek Hill who's a game changer, but they still bring in two decent receivers that Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to use. They still have Travis Kelce. I think that this one is still the Chiefs are going to come out and they're going to be able to hang in there with the Cardinals, who I don't think are going to be able to actually put up much of a fight in this game. And I think the Chiefs, the Cardinals are in free fall. Yeah, I just don't think there's a real direction with that team. And I think Kansas City, we kind of know what you get when you get Kansas City. And I think that that's going to be, I believe there's actually stat too, that Kansas City in games where they didn't have Tyreek Hill were like they still had an above, like they still win games. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs in this matchup. as much as I hate to say it, but
Yeah, I actually am going to take the Cardinals here.
okay.
I disagree with the majority of people and how they feel about Kyler and the Cardinals. I think that Kyler is ultra extremely talented, and he has the chops to be able to win the big game and lead his team and whatever. Excuse me. He's going into his 4th year, so he needs a little bit of time, obviously, and I think people maybe aren't allotting him the space to grow as a player, really. And the Cardinals were dominant in the early part of the regular season last year. They do that pretty often, actually. They're really, really good at the beginning of the season, then they kind of falter towards the back end of the season. It's actually a graphic. It's hilarious. It's a graphic that Kyler Murray actually
I completely forgot we traded Cody Ford to them. Oh, man.
There's a graphic that says Kyler Murray actually, and noticeably, he gets worse as soon as the new Call of Duty comes out every year.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. I did see that graphic.
Call of Duty is not out yet, and the Chiefs are going to have to, they're going to have to conform to life without Tyreek Hill. And I want to see it first, but I want to see what it looks like. But before I do, I just be honest, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play extremely efficient. He's going to have to be extremely patient. And I don't know if that is what he is going to do. So I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals pick up the W here.
Okay. Again, so you're telling me if you play the Cardinals after October 22nd, you'll probably win. But if you play them before Call of Duty comes out, that it's going to be a tougher game. So I get that. I wonder if he's more of a Warzone player though. But
I think he is a Warzone player.
So he's got a year round.
He's a part of FaZe Clan.
He's part of FaZe. All right. So I guess we'll just kind of go left to right here. This is a big one too, Justus. Chargers, Raiders.
Start out season with a bang, man. NFL,
dude, it's gonna be a good day of football. Good.
They got it right, and we get to watch it guilt-free, or not guilt-free, but anxiety-free because we're already 1-0. All right, so Raiders, Chargers here. Khalil Mack, opposite of Joey Bosa, is disgusting. That's disgusting.
Nasty.
I gotta say.
Raiders though, Chandler Jones across from Max Crosby.
Right. That is also disgusting.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So here's how I'm gonna go here. I have Justin Herbert on my fantasy team.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hedge my bet. Right. I'm gonna go with the Raiders here because if Justin Herbert does well and they win, then at least I'll probably do well in fantasy. And if he does trash and they lose, that means I already bet on the Raiders, and that means they're probably going to survive the game. I have no idea what the hell is going to come out of the AFC West. I don't know who's good, who's not. I can guesstimate as well as anybody else, but I am that division is going to be fun to watch. So I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one, just out of purely selfish reasons. Who you got, Jay?
So in this game, J.C. Jackson will not be playing with the Chargers. So that means, as Al Davis once said, just win, baby. Just win, baby. The Raiders and Devontae Adams are going to win this game against the Chargers. Look, I think the Raiders are a sleeper pick to actually win the whole division. Like, I would actually say that team, I think Josh McDaniels, as a second crack at being a head coach, I think he's finally going to be able to, he's not coming into a situation where his quarterback is Tim Tebow. Like, it's not. He's got Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. Like, I think that's a learning experience. The first time that he went and became a head coach, he goes back under Bill Belichick. Now he's back into it. I think this team has a ton of talent. It sucks that they don't have Henry Ruggs anymore because of unfortunate circumstances and things like that. But it's just I can't. The Chargers, they have to prove it to me still. They got to prove it to me. And I know the Raiders haven't, done much more. But last year, that team almost made the playoffs with Rich Bisaccia as their head coach. No Davante Adams, and their coach being a homophobe and being ousted mid-season, and then a couple of their players being arrested and not playing on the team. I think that this team's been through a lot. I think they got a lot of fire. I think that the Raiders win this one.
Yeah, they've gone through a ton this offseason. Like you said, the John Gruden thing where he's out there just saying all kinds of slurs
and stuff.
Henry Ruggs, their first-round pick, is out here just being absolutely reckless. Like, that was just disgusting. And it didn't work out, obviously. But, yeah.
Their first-round pick, Damon Arnett, also arrested for a gun charge.
So it's a lot going on in Las Vegas, which is why I think people probably were questioning if it should be a team in Las Vegas. But hey, we'll see what happens. And in Raiders, I mean, they went toe to toe with the Bengals in the playoffs last year. Lost by
should have won. Should have won. That Joe Burrow touchdown should not have counted.
So I'm going to go with the Raiders there over the Chargers. Green Bay, Minnesota. All right, so we'll just alternate, and then you do the next one. So
yeah, that's fine.
Green Bay, Minnesota. I mean, Green Bay loses Davante Adams.
Yep.
Minnesota has Justin Jefferson. They still have Adam Thielen.
He's on my fantasy team. He about to eat this year. All right.
Who you got, Jake Jordan? Ooh.
I got the Vikings too, Spin.
Ooh.
I don't think there's enough drugs that Aaron Rodgers can do to help build that receiving core back up. He loses Davante Adams. Allen Lazard, I don't know, is playing in the game either because he was hurt. So that's kind of like, I don't even know who they're playing right now. And when I look, Kevin O'Connell, I think is the name of the new coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Look, Green Bay loses their entire offense. Been 100%. I think with Kevin O'Connell coming in with the Vikings, and you have their wide receivers saying, you got Justin Jefferson going, oh, I see why Cooper Kupp was so wide open last year. Like, the offense is completely different. You've got an offensive-minded guy in there. You don't have Mike Zimmer anymore. Their defense is still pretty much the same. And you're telling me that Kirk Cousins now is in a different offense, which is based off the Shanahan system, which is what he started the league in when he came in. So I definitely think that this is going to be a year. If Justin Jefferson isn't open, Adam Thielen's going to be right there. And yeah, I think that I think the Vikings are a sleeper team this year, man. I'm in on the Vikings, and I think Kirk Cousins, as I believe they said on the Rich Eisen show, Kevin O'Connell's going to unlock Kirk Cousins because you like that. You like that, and he's going to win this game. And Aaron Rodgers is going to start off 0-1.
I'm looking at the Packers depth chart, and it's very, very concerning that Adam Lazard is doubtful.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
he is listed as their number one receiver. Yeah. Sammy Watkins couldn't even be the number one receiver over Alan Lazard. That's very concerning to me. Although I've heard great things about Romeo Doubs. I don't know, man. I don't know. Robert Tonyan is pretty good. Aaron Jones is pretty good. Of course, that defense is decent. They got, Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker, Jair Alexander is really, really good. Eric Stokes is really, really good. Darnell Savage, Adrian Amos. Honestly, wow, that defense kind of gave me my pick. I'm gonna go with the Packers here. I was thinking about the upset, but I'm gonna go with the Packers here just because that defense. If they can like somewhat slow down Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, I think, and Dalvin Cook, of course, I think that Aaron Rodgers can do enough to get them over the top.
I got you. You got to believe in Aaron Rodgers, man. He's that guy still. So we'll see. Again, he's one of those quarterbacks that I think can make some dudes who, again, should be bagging groceries. Probably gonna again. Who was MVS before Aaron Rodgers was throwing it to him? Not somebody who's getting a second contract with the Chiefs. So
For sure.
we'll see that. I'm really taking in that Vikings juice, man. I don't know what it is, but I'm there in it. Now, here's one that I actually can't wait to watch. I'm going to have all these games on, but man, this one, I am really interested in this one just because of Brian Daboll.
They will play the Titans this week.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, I want to see what Derrick Henry looks like as well, since that is the entire Titans offense. I do want to see, yes, been easy win for Tennessee. I agree. I think Derrick Henry's going to run all over the New York Giants.
What's up, Scott? Appreciate you guys for being in the comment section. Here, I'm actually going to go with the New York Giants, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think there's bad juju surrounding Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill is obviously upset that they drafted Malik Willis. They no longer have A.J. Brown. Robert Woods is not going to be there to start the season. Their defense is not very good at all. Their offensive line just lost Roger Saffold and Quessenberry, so now they're kind of depleted as well, because I know that because they came to us. And I think the Giants with a new organization, Sean Daboll, they're bringing a new energy. Saquon Barkley should be back. Thank you, Spin. Saquon Barkley should be back. They still have some decent wide receivers. And I think Daniel Jones is serviceable. Daniel Jones has the talent to be a good quarterback in this league. He just needs to put it together. And Joe Judge nor McAdoo was able to get it out of him. Maybe Brian Daboll can. We'll see. Daniel Jones kind of reminds me of like Tebow, right? Like he's like if Eli Manning and Tim Tebow had a baby. That's what he reminds me. And I feel like that's not an awful quarterback. It's not awful. It's not great, but it's not awful. And I feel like I feel like I'm watching the Titans implode, to be completely honest with you guys. So if the Giants can do enough and not shoot themselves in the foot, although I don't know how much I trust that with Brian Daboll at the helm, because that's what our offense was known for last year, shooting ourselves in the foot. But I'm gonna go on my gut, and I'm gonna take the Giants in this game. Next up, we have Sunday Night Football. This is a good one. This is a pretty good one. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Is it a good one?
I think so. You got two potential playoff teams, especially in the NFC, which is garbage. These are going to be people who are, fighting for a Super Bowl berth, potentially. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys, and what I'm assuming is Jerry World because it's Sunday Night Football. Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott. Mike Williams and Julio Jones versus Michael Gallup.
So here's
Jordan?
I think Michael Gallup I don't even think is playing. I don't think he's healthy.
That's terrible.
I think CeeDee Lamb may be playing. Maybe. But if CeeDee Lamb's got people covered over him, Tony Pollard is being listed as their starting slot receiver, and he's their backup running back. What? Yeah, I have him in fantasy. Look, he's going to be great this week. If for some reason you got Tony Pollard on your bench, he's listed as the starting slot receiver for the Cowboys. So he's about to get those, he's about to get all the PPR points. All right, Dak's about to dump it off to him, every single time. So he's a sneaky pickup because he's basically another wide receiver you can stash at running back right now. No, I think the Bucs absolutely destroy the Cowboys in here. I think the Cowboys I think are in a situation where, I'm looking at the Washington football team and I'm going they're mid. Dude, their offensive line is going to be garbage. they have to bring in Jason Peters, who's 40 years old and like way long in the tooth. And I think that, they've got no weapons offensively. On defense, they've got Trayvon Diggs, which, again, I'm sorry that we have to disrespect Trayvon Diggs, but he's not as good as people make him out to be. He's really, like, he's burnt toast, too. Like, that's kind of, he gets interceptions, sure, but he's burnt toast. I think that Tom Brady comes in, like everybody's talking about, oh, Tom Brady's got marital issues. He's going to get a divorce and, oh, he wanted to join the Dolphins and all this stuff. He's going to come in, shut everybody up. And in Jerry World, it's going to be an ugly scene for all those people in America's team. So I'm taking the Bucs here to clean.
Yeah. When I mentioned it was Julio Jones and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Holy hell. Like, and then I was like, they don't even have a Mark Cooper anymore. Oh, no. Well, you got your answer there. I do love Michael Parsons, but I don't think Michael Parsons alone, with Dak Prescott can beat the.
No, sir.
They're a year removed from winning the Super Bowl. I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna have you down for the Bucs. So we have a couple here that we're different on. Monday Night Football, Justus. Yep. The Broncos are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And this is Russell Wilson. Again, you cannot tell me that the NFL did not schedule this stuff on purpose. Right? Like, you can't tell me Baker Mayfield is not going to play his former team. Russell Wilson's going to play his former team. You have Joe Flacco now, which they probably didn't even try to do, playing his former team in the Falcons, and Von Miller going to play his former team. The Broncos should win.
Khalil Mack playing his former team.
Yeah, Khalil Mack playing his, oh man.
It's a lot of good stuff.
This game, the Broncos should win. Everybody's going Broncos. Broncos should win this game. Let's ride. Let's ride with those Broncos. I'm going to pick the Broncos to win this game. But Justus, I'm not going to be surprised that this is the only win that the Seahawks get all year.
What is the basis upon that the Seahawks could possibly win this game?
You know that they're going to be fired up to go against Russ.
For sure.
It's like, that, and I know it's Geno Smith. Look, I don't expect them to win. They should get the brakes beaten off of them. Like,
theoretically, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like, this should be a terrible Monday Night Football game because it's going to be a blowout. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm going to be so flabbergasted if somehow Seattle finds a way to pull it out and Pete Carroll gets that one last one-up on Russell Wilson on the way out the door. And he says, all right, enjoy your season. And this could be the only win. Yeah, the Hawks have Drew Lock, but he's not the starter spin. It's Geno Smith, which tells you how bad Drew Lock must be. Like, yeah, man, this game should be a blowout, but I'm hoping it's a good game, and I would love to see the Seahawks win it, but I'm going to pick the Broncos.
Bet the house on the sea.
Bet everything. The kids, the 401k, everything. Put it down.
Absolutely not. Do I think they'll be fired up? Yes. I just don't think they have any shot in hell. I think like a droplet of water has a better shot in hell than these guys. I don't know if they're going to be as bad as Jake's dog water bet suggests. I mean, the Seahawks could be a little better than that. I think you gave them like 4 wins or something.
Yeah, I said they were going to be under 5 wins.
Yeah, something like that. I could see him sneaking off a couple or whatever here and there, but this isn't going to be one of them. And if this is one of them, then the Broncos immediately jump to 4th in the AFC West. Like, this is beyond unacceptable. Let me see. The only AFC West team that is, I could see the Chiefs losing. I actually have the Chiefs losing. So, yeah. But the Broncos are the only team in the AFC West that should 100% win their matchup this weekend.
So, Justus, we're pretty much consensusly picking the Broncos here. What do you think out of all these games is going to be the best game
The
of the week?
game. Well, of course, for us Bills fans, that game was awesome to watch.
That already happened.
The most competitive game, or the best like visually pleasing game. I mean, the Raiders Chargers game last year was absolutely bonkers. It was bonkers.
Mhm.
And if those two can come back and have another dogfight like that, then I'm gonna have to say that it's that game bar none. There were some great games on this docket, though. I'm also looking forward to that Browns versus Panthers.
Steelers Bengals.
I was just about to say that. I'm looking forward to Steelers Bengals. I'm looking forward to even seeing what the Jaguars can do versus Washington. Like, I'm so excited it's a new season. I'm looking forward to the Chiefs and Cardinals. I'm so excited it's a new season. Yeah, man. There's a lot of pretty good games here, but who you got your eye on?
Oh, that Raiders Chargers game, baby. That one, all eyes are on that one. I want to see what Derek Carr looks like. Yeah, Paul Hood agreeing with me. Green Bay versus Vikings should be close. Look, I think that one could be close, but that's also one that I've said too. It could either be a close game or it's gonna be a blowout too. It could be. So it's one of those games that could flip like that. Like I've said about the Rams Bills game too. I know last week I said 2 scores, but all off season I was like, that game feels like it could be a blowout or it would be really close, and it was pretty much a blowout. So, and I know people are picking it for game of the week because obviously we were all hyped about it, but I feel like if you're a football fan and you just watch that game, you just watch the Buffalo Bills just beat up on the Rams. It wasn't that great of a game. The first half you'd be going like, oh my God, this is a great game because of the turnovers and the back and forth and everything like that. But the second half, the Bills just pull away, and it was not a great game to watch. Raiders Chargers, I hope, has that kind of feel. I would love for a shootout between the Bengals and the Steelers too. Like I would just love to see Mitch Trubisky go out there and do something, man. I would just love to see that. And then if the Eagles and the Lions want to have a good game too, I'd love to see that. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was J&J's Weekend Picks, brought to you by Rev Masters. And next week we will have that link for you. That's my fault. I didn't have the link prepared for the show tonight, but next week we will have the link for you guys to be able to go and apply to Rev Masters, and use yourselves a nice little deal. But man, we're almost 2 hours in. Guys,
hey, Justus, this show was built different.
That was good.
Built different.
Good. This was the first ever episode of Built Different with your host, Justice General, and my man, Jake Jordan. Damn, Aaron, I'm sorry you salty, bro. Come to Buffalo. But yes, thank you guys for being in the comment section. Y'all are amazing, man. You guys were here rocking with us all night. Very active in the comment section. Like seriously, like you guys have no clue.
A lot of people came in at the end of the show too. Because we can see like the people who like the live viewers, and like we were like hovering around like 3 or 4, but then we get into J&J's weekly picks and boom, we're up to 11, 13. People want to know who's gonna win, and man, I'm sorry, Justus, but I'm telling you, you're gonna be losing come next week when
we are going to see, but standing in between that and this, we got a weekend of football. So super excited. Week 1 has started already officially. The Buffalo Bills are 1-0, beating up on the Washington Rams. We get to see the rest of the docket starting Sunday at 1 p.m.
and enjoy it, because next weekend we're going to be in the complete opposite situation where we watch everybody else going while we're worrying about being that last game of the week.
That's facts. But at least I don't have to worry about it on Sunday. I can enjoy football on Sunday. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys know we appreciate every single like, comment, subscription, retweet, repost, share. All of it. You guys are super supportive, and we appreciate it. Make sure you slap that like button on the way out, and subscribe to the fan base page. Tune into the Lowdown with Jay Jordan every single Friday. Tune into Justice for All every single Thursday night, except for last night, obviously, because of the Bills game. And the Madden games we're gonna finish the season.
Yeah,
we will inform you guys on when the next game will be. Obviously, with the NFL back, it kind of dips into some scheduling and stuff. But we are gonna finish the season, and we'll let you guys know when those.
Oh
games
yeah, I have the Bears game on my computer. Like, okay, cool. We just have to find a day to do it.
Already set up and ready to go, and we'll make that happen for you guys, we promise. But for my man Jake Jordan, I'm Justice General Radford. We're your hosts, Built Different, and this is the official network of the original Bills Mafia, and we are out. Go Bills.
Go Bills.